Yeah. Okay, it seems to be arriving. Yeah. That's happening. Okay, well, fingers crossed, eh? We're not going to get some kind of internet problem halfway through the show. Ah, we must be live.
Whoa.
I think I've got
Streams
cramp
up.
in my leg.
Uh-oh.
Maybe we should get up, Mark. Right.
Don't
okay.
make me come over there.
Okay, I need to not be looking at that. I need to be looking. Okay, 1, 2. Yeah, check. 1, 2. Gosh, there's a lot of mic, a lot of live mic.
Yes.
I think that's Mark is probably a bit hot on the gain.
Ooh, hot.
Channel 5. Wait a sec. No. Hold on. There's a button probably flashing on their console there, which says sends on phaser. Press that again. Right, now you select the mic. You'll be all right. Top button. Hello.
Hello.
That's all right.
That's
coming
better.
over.
It's quieter, isn't it? No.
Well, I don't know. The gain I was thinking of, not the fader. Press select and then the gain is the active channel. Right. Select.
I went to Glastonbury Town Hall for a council meeting the other night. There's a man in there who's changed his name by deed poll to Free Cannabis. And people were talking, and eventually he got the mic and he went, hello, 1, 2, CBD, THC, 1, 2, THC. It's very, very funny. And then put the microphone very close to his mouth and recounted a poem extraordinarily loud. Made me jump.
Right.
A lot of poets in your neighborhood.
There are.
I'm noticing.
Hey.
What does a poet do in his spare time?
I have no idea. Right poet? Well, no, yeah, I don't know.
Watch TV, maybe? I don't know. That's a good question.
Practice.
Hello.
guitar.
Right, I think we're going. We're ready. We're not live. Well, we're live, but we're not. The show doesn't start. So, here's Rich.
Hi, guys.
There's Dave. Say something, please, Dave.
Hello.
There's Mark.
Hello. Good God.
And there's me. Okay, so, yes, I think what it is because we've got a lot of live mics in the room, it just sounds very different to me than it usually does because
Well,
I'm hearing
yeah.
It's
some
that-
condenser.
It's that reverb. Your spring reverb.
Hold on, let's see if we can...
That is such a good noise. I love that.
Yeah, it's a kind of inappropriate...
So
yeah,
you
oh
don't-
well.
You don't normally have it stretched out that far. That's what it is.
That's, yeah, no, you're right. It's
Change the
usually-
sound of it.
You're completely right about that, Mark. Completely right. Right, okay.
I think he's done this before.
Fruit.
So, yeah, hello everybody. So we're live and direct this time. So we're just
In
getting
the
everything
same
debugged.
room.
So we have Rich is here in person with the purple glow,
Purple.
and he's in
Glow.
he's in 4K, and then we have Dave who's in 1080,
10-8, yeah.
Is it?
and then me, I'm in 4K I think, and Mark, I'm not sure, Mark, you're in 1080 as well. Well, we're all in 720 when it comes down to it.
Okay.
So Andy, yeah, that shot of Mark looks a little bit.
He looks a bit old there. Can you make him look younger?
Well, not only that, but if he's going to play his guitar.
I'll widen it then.
Okay. Sorry, I do beg your pardon. We have Andy also in the room. So there's actually more hands on deck. So it might actually work pretty good. So yeah, Rich is here. Rich is here on a couple of days off with Chic. So he decided. Andy, can you turn Rich's fader up a little bit?
Yes, I suppose you can. I can speak. I can.
Just the fader.
I can be the loud American in the room if you'd like.
It's really interesting. Everybody in there here in person is talking much quieter than they do when they're actually.
No, I talk pretty
Oh,
much
yeah.
like this when
That's
I'm
true.
when I'm
I don't.
Maybe I monitor you much more loudly.
maybe could be.
Okay,
I think
so
I have my headphones.
let's just
off
check everything's
on here.
happening.
No.
We have
usually closer to.
friends in the IRC. Yep, and we have audio cutout. No wide shot. No, there isn't a wide shot. We're using all 4 cameras, and we got YouTube. Right. Okay. So,
No wide shot.
sorry guys. We to get a wide shot would be, because what I've done is I've adapted this our normal podcast to bring in live cameras rather than people from remote locations. So it's a little bit of a kludge, and it's not something that happens every day. I could do this shot. There we go. That's a sort of falls up shot, so we can all.
right.
But we're all looking in different directions because their cameras are pointed at people's faces, but we're looking at each other. If that
would we-
makes any sense. So it
What
might
would
be
we
a
have to
bit-
do to look at it? We all look at the logo. Is that right? Yeah, yeah. There you go. I'm looking at everyone else now, am I?
Yeah, I don't know which. So we're all looking into the middle, I think.
So you have to turn your head as if you're looking at the logo in the centre, and then we'll all be looking at each other, which means I've got to do that. And then
I see what you're saying.
even though I'm not actually looking at any, no, I
if I
can't.
look over
That
here-
very bright light.
Okay. Right.
There's 2 Rich Hiltons in there now. Look, either that or I.
Oh yeah, so
Yeah,
there are.
no, yeah.
Stereo Richard.
That's peculiar. Right. Okay. Well,
How did you do
It's
that?
a little bit well because I think there was because I did a 2 like that, and then I did a 4, which I think just overlays the 2 and the 4, whereas it should reset, and that's something that I don't do very often. So I only just noticed. I could also have me. We could do this.
Ooh. No, the other way.
Never mind. So, yeah, well, you guys ended up on the same train without realising it, which is kind of weird.
About
That's
10
weird.
seats apart.
There was
Wow.
a moment. when
Really? What, in the same carriage? Even?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Who was snoring the loudest?
I wasn't. I wasn't sleeping.
I was passing wind
Right, I'm
Was
trying
that you?
figure
to try
out-
and clear space around
that
me.
you?
It's the only way I'm going to get a sit-down seat.
Okay, so yeah, this is.
Were
a
you
ve-
enjoying the British countryside then?
Very
Were you
much.
Looking out the window.
Very much.
There was a moment when I went, "Oi, you!" When Rich turned around, and I thought, "I hope it's him." He probably saw it in my face. I was like, "I really hope it is Rich, not some random stranger."
Oh, you
I've got-
realised in the end then he was on the same train.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
were just.
as I
waiting
was
to get out.
filing off, all of a sudden I heard Dave's voice.
Right. Okay.
I believe the word reprobate.
It's
came
really
up.
weird. This the dynamic is so completely different just from muscle memory from my point of view, because I'm looking at people
Oh,
in the
yeah, of
face,
course.
whereas normally I'm just looking at a screen and going, okay, and now the buttons that I have laid out here bear no relation to how we are sat in the room, so it's going to get even more complicated. But the cool thing is I was able just to bring this from my normal desk and just put it in front of me, and so that means I've still got show control. Without any volume, though, I can't control the volume of everybody's mics. That's something that's separate because we're going in. Because normally you come in on separate things. So if anyone's too loud or too quiet, give us a shout and we should be able to adjust it. I think.
Of course, we're not looking at the chat rooms.
No, exactly. Well, the chat
Where is
room,
the chat room?
the chat room is here.
Oh.
Well, both the chat rooms are here, which you probably can't see because I'm having trouble seeing them.
I should have brought my
got
iPad
the
in.
right
It's too
glass.
late now, isn't it?
Yes. Well, you've got 5 minutes if you want to.
Yeah, but
can
I'll
pull
have to load the... I don't think I've got IRC software on it, and
Okay. Yeah. Then no. That's not.
I don't want the stress, actually. So.
I know. Let's all do a software update just before we go
Yes,
live.
let's do it, yeah.
Install some stuff.
I like these people in the chat room talking about my album. Thank you.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, just keep going on about that.
Oh, well, let's see if I can find
What,
it.
I
No,
didn't know
let's
you...
not do
Have you done an album?
Yeah, yeah.
Have you? I didn't know about that.
Yeah, I did.
Why didn't I know about it?
And
Because
it's,
I'm running a bloody music show.
it's damn good.
It
All
took
right.
15 years.
15?
Yeah, that was
There we
just to
go.
do the bass lines.
Never growing up.
I can
1963.
relate to that.
Well, how do you get that then? How did that happen?
What's that?
Look, you get like a special box with Never Growing Up, 1963 to 1971, artist Dave Spears.
That's weird.
Yeah, look.
Wow.
How did you get that to happen?
It's about-
Because I haven't been able to figure that one
It's all
out.
about who you know, Nick.
That's it. You got a mate at
Who
Google.
you're prepared to sleep with.
What's that thing down the bottom that says feedback, does it?
Oh yeah, can we leave some feedback?
No, don't leave it.
Where's mine? Click on the error.
Oh, well. There you
Artist Dave Spears. No, I'm not going to do that. What could I type?
go. S-H-I.
Where do I buy it then?
I'll go.
From
I'll send you a copy.
davespears.bandcamp.com. No, I don't want a copy.
Okay,
I'll
right.
buy it.
We're nearly there. You'll be pleased to know. Yeah, Mark has decided to come down. He's closed the shop so he can. He's got
Yeah.
a load of people outside who are desperate for guitar strings.
angry hippies. It's all love and light, unless you're fracking, and then we want to kill you.
Yeah.
No, not me. Mark just is sort of his head's just sticking up just above the. I wonder if there's a
Oh, sorry.
quick
That's
adjustment.
I've
You
moved.
keep
Away
moving.
from your microphone quite a bit.
Ah, oh sorry. I do beg your pardon.
It's my
It's
dodgy
all
shoulder.
very fluid and dynamic here at the moment. But because it's an unfamiliar setup, we don't normally. I'm
can't
trying
do
to
that.
think. The last time we've never done one like this, have we? We did one where I was in my normal place and everybody was sit on the side, and I had to keep turning round, which I suppose I
The
have to do.
500th.
Yeah, the 500th we did that, and we did another one,
Oh, at the
Yeah, we had
150
hang
or
on,
the
didn't
50th or the 150 or something.
I thought we had champagne at the 500th as well, didn't we?
Yeah, I didn't do that this time. I thought we needed to behave.
This is only 580.
Nobody said
580?
anything about behaving.
All right, okay.
That'll work a bit better.
Am I too quiet? Or
No,
something?
you're not now. You probably could turn down a bit though. Now you're close because what's happening is the.
Oh, you're
'cause you've
getting
got
loads of ambience.
You've got the condenser, which is the one that's got all the ambience on, whereas these dynamics. Everybody else is on dynamic. I've got the Rode pod mic. Rich has the trusty podcaster or Procaster, which is like an RE20 type of thing.
Yeah.
Dave has a really cheap Samsung mic with a switch on it. It's an R11.
Something very apt about that.
No, that mic is very useful for when you're doing front of house because you've got a switch on it. You can just sort of use it to shout at people in the monitors. Mm-hmm. And Mark is on the Focusrite iTrack, which came with the a pair of headphones, which I think Rich has actually got. We should really have given you those headphones because then it would have been matched up. So Rich has got the iTrack headphones and Mark's got the iTrack mic. There we go.
It's quite a nice mic, isn't it?
It's not bad, yeah.
Sounds good in the
I
headphones.
think it came with the iTrack dock, which is something that we've cannibalised to be able to fix onto a screen so that we could put the iPad on it for when we do live broadcasts. I think. Excuse me. Okay, right. I think we should consider doing a show. So I think I could actually do it. I just need to get my. Let's close a few windows because I need to just.
One last question.
Yep,
Headphone monitoring. Where was that plugged into?
yours. It's plugged in. It's not there. It's on the corner of the desk. There's a pair of little underneath the corner of the desk. There's two little dangly bits, and it's one of those. Should be plugged. Well, there were. There must have been. Hold on, I'll just come over. Hold on a sec.
no!
Let me have a look.
Has this mic got a gate on it?
Yeah.
Well, it has, hasn't it? I can hear the gate.
Where's the other end of that? Oh, is that coming unplugged? Well, it's down here somewhere. All right. I think we're good to go. This is Cyberman.
Sorry, I couldn't resist it. Snog into Cyberman.
Right. Let's make sure I'm not going to hit that table leg. Right. I think we're there.
It's just like being at the back of the class in school, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. So.
Podcast.
All right, I think we're ready to make a thing. So I'm just going to have to let's have a look. Where's my mouse? Oh, I need a mouse mat because that's a noisy mouse, isn't
I was
it?
going to say, what's that not?
Yeah, you got
You're on there.
Yeah, I know it's going up. I have
Where's
two
your-
screens.
Where's your Sonic Talk mouse pad?
Yeah, that's what I don't have. Okay, right. Hold on, I just need to get myself slightly prepared. Right, so that's that one. That's that one. Okay, stand by. Ready?
Sonic Talk.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sonic Talk, episode 580. We have switched things around a little bit. We're live in the studio because we've got all our participants are in the room. And we're going to start with Mr. Rich Hilton, who's down from... you've got a few days off in London and thought, hey, why not come down and do the show right here, right?
Absolutely. I couldn't wait to come here and do it in Bath.
Excellent. So you're in what chic world at the moment, I guess, aren't you? Sort of between shows, right?
Yes, we're deeply in touring at the moment and enjoying it immensely and playing to wonderful audiences.
What's the next show?
Next show is Hampton Court Palace on Friday and Saturday of this week.
Right. Okay. So is that outdoors? Because the weather's been a little bit shabby, I have to say.
To the best of my knowledge, it's outdoors.
Yikes. Okay. Let's see who we got next. We've also got Mr. Dave Spears, whose first words were, "Don't worry about me. I'll sit in the corner and not get involved." But I've talked you into it. So Dave Spears, GeForce Software, and many other things. How are you doing, Dave?
I'm all right, yeah. I came down for the sandwiches. Very
Yeah.
nice they were too. Thank you very much, Andy. And the coffee.
That's good. And yeah, and then also hold on. The reason I'm being hesitant is because normally I have all the buttons because people come in, and I know where everybody's shot is. Whereas this, it's all a bit different. So my muscle memory is passing me by today. But we have Mr. Mark Tinley as well, who's shut the shop
I have.
from
Hello.
Sonusmagus, right?
Yep.
.com.
It is closed. All those hippies are standing outside being very cross with me.
And what are they queuing up to buy?
I went to buy some pet food earlier on, actually, and the guy in the pet shop said, Oh, I see. Closing up already, are you? Going home already, are you? I think I'm getting a bad reputation in Glastonbury for not being open on certain days. But what do they come to buy? Rainbow Unicorn guitar strings. That's the latest fad that I have on offer. I might show you some in a minute.
Rainbow Unicorn's guitar strings.
Yeah.
Are you importing those specially from? Are you having them woven from unicorn
Absolutely.
tails?
Absolutely, yeah, definitely, yeah. And they're £4.32 or 432, as in the 432 hertz tuning frequency.
Actually, I like that pricing strategy,
incredibly
which actually,
cosmic.
yeah, it was a cosmic pricing.
Yeah.
You should do a £4.40 one as well, I think.
I could do that, couldn't I? They'd have to be different colours, though. Yeah.
Okay.
We got paintbrush.
So I must admit, this is very discombobulating, actually. Because
Have you seen my shop?
No, I haven't. We've not been down.
You'll have to look on my Instagram feed. I put a photograph of the outside of it on
I saw.
on there the other day, and so in answer to have I got a paintbrush? No, I haven't. But Dan, the guy from the Rogues Gallery in Glastonbury, does have a paintbrush, and he did a very nice mural for me, which the council haven't told me to take off yet. So I'm sort of waiting for that moment when I get the letter through the door saying remove this at once. Or
I'm desperately trying to search for the picture now,
Oh,
but I
yeah.
can't find it. Unfortunately, I just did a search for Instagram Sonusmagus, and I got one result, and it wasn't you. So that's
really?
so maybe you need to have a word with them.
Some imposter.
Sonusmagus,
an
right?
S
that's
and a
probably-
gap.
Sorry, I'm getting very confused here because all my my keyboard's in the different places, so I'll
No,
be
it's
a
the
little
top
bit
one.
slow. Top one. Okay, let's see if we can find it. Hold on.
Wow, look at that bicycle exhaust pipe. Did you see that?
Let's just have a look.
I've got that. I've got that on my bike.
Oh, that's
Have you?
I've got
awesome.
one of those.
I've
It's
ordered
brilliant.
one.
So I'm looking for you.
Oh, that's a girl's bum.
Yeah, where's your shop?
I don't know. Maybe I didn't put it on there. I thought I had.
No, it doesn't look like... Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there. Yeah.
There we go.
Woohoo.
That's it. Oh,
Yeah.
right. Oh, it's a melodica. Oh,
It
that's
is,
nice.
but it's also a bong,
A ballodica.
and that coloured
Okay.
smoke coming out is what they make the Rainbow Unicorn guitar strings from.
Only in Glastonbury.
Anyway, yeah, only in
That leads
Glastonbury.
into one of the topics.
And
It does
those,
lead into one of the topics.
Those instruments on the front, I nearly lost my fingers screwing them on the front of the shop. Actually,
Right. Oh, I like that. I like the design. That looks good.
thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, it does sort of tie into one of our topics, doesn't it? Let's see if I can actually bring one in. I can't mute my mic here either because everybody else's mic is open, so I can't shut myself up when I'm coughing. So yeah, this was the. I mean, this has been around for a little bit longer, but this was the classic. There was a story, wasn't there, back at the legend that Buchla back in the day. What he did was. He painted some of his early modules with some sort of solution of LSD, and it was all part of the West Coast mystery and the psychedelica. And there's a chap called Elliot Curtis who volunteered to fix a Buchla. He's I can't remember where it was now. I should have probably done a bit more research. And he said he dislodged a crystal from underneath one of the pots, and then spent 9 hours tripping. Which I mean, it's a great idea for a story. But I'm wondering what the kind of molecular breakdown over sort of 30 or 40 years of neat LSD would be. But anyway, this made mainstream news. It made kind of CBS and CNN. So it's like real bits. I mean, international Route 1 primetime synth news. How often does that happen?
Well, it's a good story. People love a good story, especially if it involves LSD. And who doesn't have some of those? But anyway, probably some of us don't. I quite enjoyed it. I did. Well, you know what I wondered? I'm being scientific about it now. He had to have rubbed his eye, bit his fingernail.
Yeah.
Did I say pick his nose? No, I didn't say.
Yeah.
He had to have introduced it to some form of membrane. That stuff's not coming in through the skin of your finger. I've been around a little bit of LSD.
Okay.
And no, that's not coming in through
happen.
your fingertip. No, I don't care who made it and whether or not he was associated with the Grateful Dead. It's not coming in through your fingertip. However,
great story though. I mean, he got a lot of publicity for it, and it was. I think the actual. But I mean, the original story as well. I mean, it all adds to the mystery, and I think possibly this is what began the whole mystique of the Buchla instruments and the kind of West Coast sound. It was sort of tied into that whole area of psychedelia and the kind of the what was going on there.
Yeah, I mean, his whole thing was Ken Kesey and the Magic Bus, wasn't it? I think that was the first thing he did, wasn't it? Was a sound system for the Magic Bus.
Yes, in fact, there's a video somewhere. I seem to remember while I was researching this and trying to find it. That was the Magic Bus occupants being interviewed by some straight-laced reporter, and this kind of really weird noise coming out from the bus, which presumably was a Buchla module, right?
Yeah. I like this. As a good story. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. But also, the other thing is, so I've repaired a lot of keyboards in my time, particularly keyboard mechanisms and stuff like that. And
it's like the back of the sofa, isn't it?
Well, and it is. It's usually full of disgusting stuff. I mean, so the last thing you're going to do is if you see something in there, go, let's see what that's like.
Yeah, that would be probably the last thing. But, fluff, coins, a lot of plectrums, I'd imagine, fall between keys. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, and we did find a spliff, weirdly enough, in OB8 that we'd shipped to a programmer who opened it up, and they'd obviously, whoever had the keyboard before had obviously just inserted it, under the keys, as it were, above the keys and below the panel, and that was still there, kind of 20 odd years later. That was weird.
I imagine that probably didn't translate in terms of time. I don't know.
did you light it?
No. There was talk about bring it to NAMM and we'll have a go, and then it was just like...
Should have been framed.
Well, we could have got tons of column inches if this is anything to go by out of it. A spliff in an OB8.
Mark, I mean, you fix a lot of stuff in the shop as well, so you're doing repairs and things. I mean, can you? I don't know whether but it's a good story for starters, right?
This is definitely a good story. I don't know. I'm worried now, actually, especially in Glastonbury. People like bringing things in to men. What am I going to find in there?
In
If I
Glastonbury, I
touch
can
the
make some
wrong
fairly
thing.
safe. I'm guessing maybe sequins, beads.
Oh, I'm thinking these days it's more likely to be like ketamine and what's that stuff people smoke? DMT.
I don't know. I've never heard of it.
Wow.
Yeah. I want to know what happened on the trip, because when people take LSD, they get kind of like amazing insights into life, and then they kind of find solutions to things and all that sort of stuff. So I want to know more. I want to know what happened on the trip, what was the insight, and what happens next. What's he going to do now? He's had that insight.
That's true. I was looking for some clues to that, and this is the article on CDM Link, which is Peter Kern's brilliant publication. And literally the only sentence that's standing out to me is, the only study I could find deals with decomposition in urine. So, which I think is in reference to the
Understand.
shelf
It
life.
happens
The shelf life.
after you
Yeah.
digest it.
Of synthesizers or LSD?
LSD, I think.
Hello.
Right, I remember,
Ouch.
so it's the red panel myth. It's supposed to be the red panel. Is the thing that was the one. I'm looking to see if there's a picture of it somewhere. I think the only video I could find was basically mainstream TV, and I didn't want to play that and get beaten up by the police. But I know I know Jim on Synth Memes. There was a whole period where it was just like, if another person posts something about this, I'm going to lose my mind, because it's there was, in fact, he did a rather amusing kind of sketch on. It's like, I guess, people who knock door to door with sort of Bible pieces and sort of say, "Excuse me, sir, have you heard about the Buchla story?" maybe tell you about the Buchla story. I just thought that was kind of a funny parallel, really. So yeah, it's been there. I just felt like we should at least talk about it, because it's been and done. I know we're a bit behind the curve.
Don from Beyond the Grave going, "Great, finally," just laughing.
Yeah, that would be good. Okay, so let's take a look at. Oh yeah, here we go. This is also quite Glastonbury. I think, Mark. I think you might enjoy this one. This is the bowed glass bowls from Riot Audio. I know that. I mean, the Tibetan bowls, not bowed, but the finger bowls, the brass bowls, and this sort of thing. And so this is very much of that sound, and it is a beautiful sound. There is no denying it. This is a free. I think this is actually, as far as I know, it's free at the moment, so what's not to like? It's called Bowed Glass Clouds, so I'm guessing it might have clouds in it, as in mutable. Free until July the 30th. So let's have a look. It's built on Riot Audio's proprietary Clouds engine, which contains individually adjustable 3-octave spread, layers A and B with sub-layers, and uses Contact's AET filter technology. There's resulting a total 12 layers that can be morphed, blended and automated to create a wide variety of complex, evolving textures, which is what you're currently hearing. Ooh. I feel like I'm listening to a relaxation tape, which I'm not at all displeased about, but I just want to make sure that I keep our guests on it and alert. I don't want them falling asleep. But Rich, you were putting a thumbs up. It did sound good, didn't it? It's something about those pure tones.
Yeah, I spent a bunch of time listening to different videos of this thing. It sounds great, and it makes certain things incredibly easy. And I thought it was interesting that one of the sources that they used was a vacuum cleaner.
What?
What?
Yeah.
Wait.
What's that?
One of the noise sources they used was a vacuum cleaner. But anyway, I listened to a whole ton of these things. You could just leave these demo videos on and do your day. So it actually takes something that's kind of fun and desirable to do and makes it incredibly easy.
Where did you go when you were listening to it?
I was sitting in my hotel room in
What
London.
was the insight that you got from?
There wasn't any LSD involved.
Oh,
so
It's just,
No,
no, I
just
mean the
auditory-
sound. I was spinning off then.
it was good. No, there's a wide variety of things you can do with a pretty minimum number of controls, and there's a bunch of different textures you can get, and yeah, it's all kind of just evolving ambient kind of stuff.
Do you know what this sounds like? Have you heard the? Is it NASA's recording of the planets when they recorded all the planets somehow, and there's a
the
sound
telemetry.
track
Yeah, right,
of it,
yeah, I
and
think
it
I did.
sounds really similar to that.
Isn't there something about the golden ratio about the planets and the size and the radio waves that creates that some sort of harmonic thing? Or am I completely imagining that?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm imagining that. So, Dave, these are pretty much sine waves, aren't they? I mean, things that you bow, bowls, that sort of stuff, and Tibetan bowls, they'd be kind of pretty much like additive synthesis, I suppose.
Yeah,
and it's just
yeah.
the complexity of the harmonics.
Yeah, lovely. Like it a lot.
Yeah, there was. I mean, I can't think. I'm trying to think why I put this in here, and I think it was basically, Mark, because you were here and you from Glastonbury, and I thought this would be something that would kind of work with the. I could make a Glastonbury link and probably make some snidey comments about it, but
We could send people to my competitor then.
Oh, who's your competitor?
My competitor is a guy called Narayan, and he has a shop called Enlightenment on Glastonbury High Street, and he sells glass bowls. And the first time I went to Glastonbury, I went in there and asked him if I could record them, which is not what and now that I'm in retail, I know that that's not the right thing to do. He did actually say yes, actually.
Oh,
and
did he?
Let me record all sorts of weird things in his shop. But yeah, that was rather nice of him. But I don't sell them as a kind of courtesy to him, really, because I think if I go into competition, that's not quite so much fun as
Right.
doing something completely different with.
Yeah.
I don't know. So people come in my shop and they have you got any Indian Shruti boxes? And I said, no, I've only got punk rock and things that make really horrible noise. and then they exit again.
Does he have a load of Shruti boxes? Because we did a topic a while back
no,
where there
he
were
doesn't
all these
actually.
little electronic versions of Shruti
I've got one of
boxes.
those.
Have you?
Yeah, they're really cool. But no, nobody in Glastonbury sells, the little harmonium things that you squeeze and they just play a single tone or whatever. Nobody seems to sell those.
I think there's
London is the
Is that right?
well, I don't, maybe someone in Bath. Or,
Well, you know those
or
stress
Bristol or
balls that
something.
you get, you pick them up in garages and things.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think somebody just needs to make one of those that actually emits a tone when you do it. So it's like an accordion, so it would just go. You know.
That would be cool.
There you go. You can have that, Mark. I
All
just
right,
want
then.
a small percentage when you
Yeah.
make your millions out of it.
I'll give you a kickback
Kickback. Yes.
or an insight
And
after the trip or something. I don't know.
anyway, that's Riot Audio. If you go to riotaudio.com, that will be where you find it. I think I've got the actual website here somewhere. Let me see. Did I have it? Yeah.
It's too good for them to have made that free. I think that I think that the model of giving stuff
Presenting
away,
Neutron 3.
Oops. I do beg your pardon. That was the,
the
button I
model
meant to
of
press.
giving stuff away for free and then expecting people to buy your other stuff, isn't that kind of broken now? Google have sort of broken it, I think.
Yeah,
So
I know
they
what you
should be
mean.
charging lots of money for that because it does sound really good. Look at that. Look at all that professionalism and marketing. Why on earth are they giving it away for
That's
free?
a good question. You can join the newsletter. But anyway, yeah, that's
They've
Riot
got
Audio.
other things they want you to buy.
But I
Yeah.
won't
Gotta
buy
be the
them.
evil,
I only want that.
Yeah, you
So I'm
might.
going to download that for free.
Yeah, you might.
What else have they got? What else have they got?
I don't
I'm
recall,
just
but I
looking.
did go to their website and there's other things.
They've got Bow Glass Clouds and a putty piano.
That sounds interesting.
Oh, let's have a look at that.
Oh, that does look interesting. How much is that?
It's not. It's coming in July.
Well, that wasn't very difficult, was it?
Yes.
I'll probably,
Damn.
I'll probably buy that then because I will have downloaded their other
Bingo.
thing for free.
Out
Right,
comes
okay.
the
There we
wallet.
go. There we go. All right. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break from tradition and actually get one of our sponsors in quick because I feel like I should. So let's have a word from our friends over at SoftTube. This is the Parallels, SoftTube Parallels, plug-in soft synth, one of their first, although there is a new one as well, which I'm sure we'll be showing you about. It's got dual wave scanning source selections, almost 100 high-quality pre-recorded multi-waveforms. Sonic progression within each waveform means near infinite source material, for up to 14 voices, 7 per layer, hundreds of presets from world-leading artists, BT, Richard Devine, Inholt. 3 analog model filter types, state variable Vactral LPG, which is unusual, and resonant peaks, 5 sophisticated types of modulation source, LFO random and Euclidean sequencer. A lot of this stuff coming from their chops that they've done on the SoftTube modular as well, certainly the filter types. 5 top quality effects, options, distortion, chorus, flanger, delay and reverb. So do check that out. Head over to softtube.com to check out Parallels. I don't know if it's on sale at the moment, but they do have regular sales, so do check that out. We thank them for supporting us. So let's see. Well, we've done the legends, we've done the glass bowls. Let's do this one as well. This is from a guy called Omri Cohen, and it's his
Today we will have a look at the
Midilar.
final version of the Midilar modules. The Midilar is a modular MIDI controller designed to work with VCV Rec, but not only. A few months
This is
ago
actually a
when
really long video, but
prototype,
basically the substance of it is I think we covered this several months ago, where the idea of having these kind of MIDI control modules, you get a single module to start with, and then you can bus other ones off it. They're separate to the Eurorack bus. It's powered over USB, so you plug that into your computer, and it basically is an extensible MIDI controller system that allows you to talk. He's talking VCV Rack, which, as we know, is a great free software VCV software modular system, which has stuff from Mutable and various other kind of open source things in it. And there's a particular module in it called no, what's it called? It's called a MIDI. I think it's MIDI CC. A module which allows you to do up to 16, and you can just pile them up and use it for hardware control to integrate with your modular and your software modular. It could be a soft tube modular too. And it just seems like this is the next evolution. It feels like, yeah, we're heading in this direction. Everything is going into this. What do they call it? It's what do they call it? Conflux. I can't remember what you call it.
Delay.
It's called it's called when things kind of come together.
Converge.
Converge. That's it. Mark.
Confluence.
There we go.
Okay.
There we go. We've got plenty of these. I don't know. This is kind of interesting. I mean, I know, Dave, you've got modular stuff. You haven't gone Eurorack yet. I'm pretty sure you're going to. I was talking to Jamie Liddell the other day. We did a whole thing because he did the voice, the song for the Capital Spaces, the UAD thing. He's done this beautiful song, and we've got a piece. And he showed us around his studio, and I remember him being on the show and going, "No, I've not really got into modular. It's too dangerous." And now, literally, his studio is completely littered in it. So you're still on 5U and big stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, the idea of being able to integrate within the DAW and have controls that work on a software-based thing, that's kind of to keep. I guess keeping it in one place, so you're using the concept of a single interface. That makes sense, right?
Yeah, I understand how it makes sense. That's not why I got into modular stuff. I got into modular stuff because I felt like a data entry clerk, constantly in front of the computer every day, day in, day out, and I wanted to stand up and plug things in and move things around, and it was my excuse to get some exercise, as minimal as it is. As it was. So yeah, I kind of shy. That's the only reason I sort of shy away from this, because one of the things I love about the large format stuff is, like I say, I can get up, move around. It becomes a little bit of a performance in itself. That's all recorded. It's done with and gone, and that's the one thing I loved about it.
And then I suppose once you've done that, you go and sit in front of a computer, and then you're in a different headspace.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could get that. I mean, this is a picture of the actual rack itself. Let's see if I can make that bigger. Oh, there we go. And there are, at the moment, I think there are three modules. You've got the base module, which gives you up to 64 controls, and one that's up to 32. And there's a 4. I don't want to translate this page. No, thank you. That's very kind. The Starry Night, which has got a knob and 4 buttons, and then this little one, which is 4, which is a 1. Is that 1 HP? That looks very narrow. That's actually pretty cool. That'd be pretty useful. I know, Rich. I mean, you're not. I know you're into synths, but modular hasn't sort of made its way into your world yet.
Not
right?
at my house, no. But
never in my house.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm saying not yet. But this is a very interesting thing to basically make MIDI knobs that are learnable and programmable within his software and hopefully recallable. That's the one thing he didn't demonstrate, is save some ridiculously complex set of connections that you've assigned to this mass of knobs that you've got, and then save it, and then call up another one and save it. Like, I'd like to see how flexibly it recalls and how quickly it does. I would assume it does. It must, but he didn't really bother to show that. He showed us MIDI learning a lot of parameters, and it's clever in the way it does.
I can totally. I mean, the VCV Rack. Yes, what you do is you can you just save a patch. I mean, the patch, everything is
right. Well, as one would expect in a software-driven interface like that. I am curious to know if it will run other things just as effectively, which I imagine it should, like Softube's modular, which I quite like. I'd like to see it running that as well as this guy's stuff, but. It was a great demo, and again, I spent a bunch of time watching his videos, and it's pretty comprehensive. It's cool what it does.
The Softube modular has a different way of assignment. You create these macro panels, which are performance panels, and you assign knobs to those, and then you assign the MIDI controls. Because with any of these systems, whether it's VCV Rack or there's so many potential. There's way more than 128 potential connections. That there's a way they try and make it sort of a little more straightforward. I don't know, Mark, this looks like something that you should have in your shop. I
actually think it does. The reason I haven't got into modular in any way, and I remembered, or I realised this, or did I realise it or remember? I don't know. Something happened. Yes, I had a TR8, a Roland TR8 in my shop, and I was playing around with it, and I was thinking, this thing's kind of cool. But then I realised that when I turn all the knobs around, it doesn't know what I've done. So I was playing a drum pattern one day, and then I wanted to go back to the pattern I'd been messing around with, a few days before, and it all sounded wrong. All the drums sounded wrong, and I might be wrong. I don't think, maybe you can store the position of the knobs in the TR8, but what I realised is that on modular stuff you can't, because it's all analog, I suppose. So if I create something with it on Thursday and then I'm doing something else on Saturday and I want to go back to the thing that I was doing, it's lost, isn't it? So you have to record it. And it's like, I love the creativity of being able to just you're going in and so I like the creativity of not being able to recall, but I want to be able to save stuff in a way that I can just get back to it that, straight back to where I was if I want to. So modular stuff would drive me nuts because I've got another OCD as well, and that is like on mixing desks. If I'm using mixing desks, before I do anything, I've got to set all the knobs back like in alignment.
You want to reset, right?
Yeah, okay. And then I come to the desk and then I start using it or whatever. So I'd probably be like really OCD about resetting all the knobs on the modular.
That would certainly lose your sound. There's no denying.
Well, but I mean, the more racks I bought, the more time it would take me to get home for tea, wouldn't it? Because I'd be there, setting everything for when I came back the next day or whatever.
Well,
controls VCV rack, right? Which
or any MIDI, anything.
So you can save stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
It's interesting. Why are we? I mean, but the thing that's kind of curious about this is, what's the difference between just a controller with a bunch of knobs on controlling VCV rack? Why that it's in a Eurorack space? Does it have any more validity? It's curious. I mean, I guess that comes back to the idea of you're reaching for the same rack to control the world that you're inhabiting and the collaboration. And I think that's the other thing. I mean, the Ableton CV tools that the pack that's coming out soon, and Expert Sleepers, they allow you to create envelopes and these patch points and attenuation and whatnot in software and just use an audio interface. But you still don't get over the difficulty of being able to, you actually have to physically patch things to one another, which I suppose is easier than remembering where all the knobs are, but you sort of have to do that at the same time. So it still doesn't quite get you there, but it maybe allows you to make drastic changes without having to completely strip it back to square one, I suppose.
Yeah, and also getting back to Dave's reason for doing it in the first place, which is to have the experience of operating the thing in a certain way, and that you're never going to get from operating a modular on a screen. It just doesn't happen that way. It's a different interaction, and it's a perfectly valid interaction. But.
I don't know how much any of these things are, and I don't know because I think it's been coinciding with I think he may be a VCV Rack developer as well. I'm not entirely sure.
I think it's his product.
Right, maybe so. Yeah, let me have a look. But not only that, the VCV Rack is like a collaborative. It's between a whole bunch of people. It's like an open source thing. But they're at currently about, I think, version 0.62. And when version 1 hits the streets, then that's when this is going to coincide with it. So it should be soon, because I think VCV Rack 1 is slated to happen this summer, if I remember. And I know a lot of people are excited about it. I mean, the thing is obviously Softube Modular has a different kind of approach. It's much more CPU intensively modeled, but much more accurate, whereas the VCV Rack is kind of a freeware scenario where you buy extra modules at kind of quite affordable prices, but it's more to do with the environment. So, yeah, I think it'll be around soon, but well worth keeping an eye on.
I just want to say one more thing, and that is like when manufacturers model things, they model the hardware, but they also tend to the way people use that hardware tends to influence the way that they model it. So with a real modular system, if you've got lots of holes, and wires, you can just plug anything into anything, can't you? Even to the point where you could blow the thing up, right?
Theory.
But I think the software doesn't allow you to do that, and there's always things that people do that isn't always modeled in software. So from a kind of getting excited about having like loads of things and loads of wires and plugging stuff in, that excites me, because it's like, well, hang on a minute, what happens if I do that? Or has
yeah.
anyone ever done this before? Bang! Oh, okay. There goes a couple of grand, but whatever.
Well, no, I take your point. I mean, actually, a lot of the modular stuff does allow you to plug an audio signal into a
Into a
CV
control signal, yeah.
and also integrate certainly with Softube and with VCV Rack. You can integrate audio interface stuff and DC coupled audio interfaces all together and plug them. They become integrated. Oh, I'm just my reverb springs.
Oh, it's the gong. It's the Glastonbury gong.
It's the Glastonbury gong because my mic arm is extended fuller, so the springs are longer, which means I'm getting more reverb. But I don't know if you'll hear that on Skype.
We better do some impulse responses of that actually.
Impulse
in all different angles and stuff as well. We could do a sample library, couldn't we?
Why
Actually?
not? I think it'd
Yeah.
be very niche.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'd buy it.
you wouldn't have to buy it, Mark.
Yeah,
Yeah.
give it away.
Don't give
Contact.
things away. Let's charge people for things, please.
Yes. Anyway, okay. Well, that was so. If you want to get hold of that, I think it's hard to read the address here. You want to look for Midilar, basically. It's MIDI with LAR on the end. Ooh, there goes a phone.
Ooh.
Wow, that's like Bernstein. No, what's his name?
Bartok.
Bartok,
actually.
was it? Oh,
Bartok, yes. The miraculous Mandarin, if you must know.
Well, thank you very much. Okay, let's now. Well, I think let's. I think maybe what we should do is because we've got a new prize and a new prize and everything for the for our friends over at Isotope. So if I play our little insert, then we can get onto the competition for last week. So we're talking about Neutron 3 this week, which is cool.
Presenting Neutron 3, the modern way to mix. Bring your workflow into the 21st century with 8 modern mixing tools, all at your fingertips in one mothership plugin. Starting a mix can take a while, but with the all-new Mix Assistant, Neutron can listen to your audio and quickly suggest a custom starting point for an individual track, or set levels for your entire mix. Shape sounds like never before with the new Sculptor module. Match audio to a target sonic profile and instantly sculpt it to sound more like itself or like something else completely.
How could it sound more like itself?
Reach out and touch your audio with Neutron's immersive controls and visualizations. Neutron 3 comes equipped with Visual Mixer, a tool to help you effortlessly manipulate the landscape of your mix. Neutron 3, the modern way to mix.
So there we go. That is Neutron 3. This is so we got a new prize this week. But we have a win last week. Neutron. I should point out actually, we use Neutron 3. We're talking to Rich a bit before the show. This is just out, and it's got a lot more of their kind of inter-plugin communication stuff in it, which is actually really cool. Rich, you were telling us a little bit about that. Have you been using it?
I've been using Neutron 2 for quite some since it's been out, and Neutron 3 takes those things and adds to them. So to the extent that they're similar, I know something about how it works. And the fact that they claim to have improved the masking meter is really significant to me because first of all, it was good before. It allows us to see where frequencies are piling up across 2 different compared inputs on a single plug-in window.
Right.
And so for all of us who basically have monitoring systems that don't present the bass in any kind of a realistic or honest way, it actually helps you to see where your buildups are and where your weaknesses might be, and actually use visual aids to adjust your low end that you can't hear in your monitoring environment. I certainly don't have perfect bass response.
But you can hear it when you make the difference.
And you go out and you play it, and all of a sudden your bottom is like full and clear and not, piling up on each other. And other things they do is inter-instance communication, so that you can use, for example, an input from one instance of Neutron as a sidechain
okay.
in someplace else. And a simple application for that is using kick drum to duck a little dynamic EQ on the bass instrument, so that
Rather
where
than
the
just a
kick
straight
drum-
ducker, you're actually ducking just a specific frequency.
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Right,
Just
okay.
a little bit of, like, say, 100 or 80 cycles, and very gently, and all of a sudden your bass clears up. Between those 2 activities alone, it's improved the bottom end of my mixes significantly.
Interesting. Well, I should also point out we use Neutron 2 on the sort of bus out of this show, so it kind of speaks to me a little of like FM rate. It's my secret FM radio source, which is what you're hearing now. Is the final stage before it goes to the stream, goes through an instance of Neutron 2. I think I'll try Neutron 3 though. That sounds like it'd be worth. But anyway, I digress. We've actually got a competition for last week's. For this week's show. If you want to win a copy of Neutron 3, we're looking for the hashtag MixBalance and the hashtag Neutron3. And if you send that to Twitter, that's the hashtag MixBalance, one word, the hashtag Neutron3, one word, and the number 3, not the word 3, to @SonicState and @Isotope Inc. That's MixBalance and Neutron3 to @Isotope and @SonicState. And that will get you entered to the competition. Once again, we thank them for supporting the show by providing the prize every week. And we do have a winner for last week. Last week's winner is a chap, or I think it's a chap, Dennis Kemp the second, or Dennis Kemp 2. Maybe there's a Dennis Kemp 1. And it's DT Kemp 2 on Twitter. And they tweeted last time, rumour has it that RX can fix it. I'd love the opportunity to prove that rumour as fact, but I'll need the RX-7 to do that. Very, very wordy and very well done. Anyway, Dennis, if you want to get in touch, Isotope folks will get in touch and give you a copy. And I should point out that Neutron 3, they're giving away the advanced version, so you get the full sketch, and that is well worth having. So yeah, that's cool.
Is.
You've reminded me what I was going to say about that video now.
Oh, please.
The modular one. At the beginning, when it came on, there was a little mushroom. Did you see that?
No, I missed that.
A little red and white mushroom. So I reckon he's so while the Buchla is the LSD synthesizer, that one's the mushroom synthesizer.
Okay, that's good. Worth knowing.
The other thing I noticed, but because you said you weren't sure if this was a man.
Ah, yes, Dennis. It does look
Dennis
like.
does have a beard.
Yeah,
Is that when he started his video, he said, "Okay, guys, blah 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 blah," and this thing flashed up and it went, "and girls" on the video.
Yeah.
And I thought, I've made that mistake so many times when a man and a woman come in the shop and I say to the woman, "Oh, you're just tagging along with him if you want something to do." And then she turns around and she goes, "No." And then she goes, "I've got a Les Paul and a Telecaster and I've got a Marshall this and a that and the other." And then I go, "Oh, you just tagging along with her?" And he goes, "Oh." And it's like such a
it's
my head, because it's it's so easy to fall into that stereotype.
So is. Okay, well, let's get on to this. This is an interesting one. This is Optosynth, based on, now this is madness. This ANS synthesizer. It's available iOS, Windows. I think it's on Mac and also Android. And I think it's like $5.99 or something, and it's based on an Optosynth, a photo. No, let me, if I get this right, it's a photo electronic instrument from sort of 1938, 1958, and it was used on some Tarkovsky films. And it takes sort of imagery and uses the light of the imagery to create these sort of tones. But it's got a very beautiful and quite unique sound. I mean, that I'll tell you what that reminds me of, that Vin Diesel film, where he's stuck on the planet and there are these strange night creatures and they make this noise. And in fact, like I say, this was used with early Tarkovsky films. This is the software replica of it, but I've got a video as well of the hardware. And this is just a really interesting. It's not totally unique. We've seen it before in other synths, but it's just the sound of it has a sort of something I've not heard kind of before. I think there's more videos. Normally I would fast forward this, but I'm actually 20 feet away from the computer, so this is more sounds that it makes. It's like a spectral. Yeah, I think it's fascinating. Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, I'm going to stop that because I know that Rich and Dave both had kind of feelings that it reminded them of Metasynth a little bit, which is an early synth. Which
they definitely had to know about this because it's basically one portion of what Metasynth was.
Yep.
And I'm trying to remember Metasynth. I mean, it's one of those pieces of software that kind of went.
Doesn't it work on OS 9?
Yeah, went away. Oh,
I think it's still no.
Let me have a look.
No, there is a version that currently works.
Is there really?
Okay.
There is.
But it was one of the very, very first synths, wasn't it? One of the very first.
Says here through Mojave.
Yeah, but the quality of that thing is so good because it does all the number crunching, and then you get these I don't know. I made like lots of very filmic sounding things with it, like the Dolby THX sound, which kind of has that lushness to it. So
Oh, there we go. Metasynth 6 new feature highlights. It does. It's all compatible. But I mean, this used to be I seem to remember Metasynth initially used to be. It was something that sound designers would just died for because it was very graphical, wasn't it? So you could make movements to images that you saw and use images themselves to generate sounds, right?
Yeah. It was an additive environment in which the vertical axis represented frequency, low frequency at the bottom and high frequency at the top. The horizontal axis represented time. And the image represented lighting up of various harmonics along the way, and the thing would operate from left to right. This was one of the modules in Metasynth, but it's the one that everybody seems to know the best. And clearly, they knew about this thing, and I didn't until I prepared for this show, and I kept looking at it, going, "Well, this is half of what Metasynth is." I guess they did it in a different way back then.
Yeah, and I mean, Dave, that we have to also suggest that there are some similarities between this and a certain Iris synthesizer that you were involved with, which again is Isotope, which is a visual kind of representation, but it didn't go quite as far as this has gone.
Spectral synthesis. Yeah. No, I mean, in fact, when we were talking about starting discussions of Iris 2, I wanted to kind of take it into a direction where you could import images and stuff and then have different sounds depending on color balances and stuff like that. But
who decides on the color?
They took it into a different, well, it depends on what you import, and you could assign maybe certain things to a brightness or a different color, and that would in effect manifest itself in another form of spectral synthesis. So
right, okay.
But they didn't go in that direction. So I bought this originally, and I love all of this stuff.
It's got a really unique sound, hasn't it? I think I've got.
I'd like the original instrument. Have you seen it?
I have.
It's
I've got. I think I've got a video here of. Yeah, here we go. There's a video here of it. It looks kind of like a massive printing press. I don't really know what's going on here because my Russian is very poor. But this, I think, is one of the original instruments.
Wow.
And this guy is called DOB. But that's all I know, and I'm not sure. We can't see too much detail here, but they're doing some stuff by putting in some markers, I guess, and then presumably he'll play those. But it just sounded. I mean, the software itself that we're talking about. I mean, the design. It looks so like Amiga kind of circa 1980. But
I just like the idea of saying to the wife, "I've bought this new instrument, and we need to get it in the house somehow. Could you give me a hand lifting it?"
So I think they do play this in a little bit. I know maybe we can fast forward it. I'm not sure. I can't get to the mouse. Oh no, I haven't got a mouse here. So I think he starts playing it in a little while. We'll just have to wait because I don't know what on earth they're talking about.
I've got a massive instrument.
you
I'm going to show you in a minute.
Oh, okay. It's coming up. Hold on. This is coming up.
Not that.
Oh, here we go. Here it comes. Stand by.
Don't you know Warren?
Oh, God.
That's beautiful, isn't it? I mean, you could see that would have been. This must have caused an absolute sensation in the 1940s. I mean, to me, this sounds way better than the. What was that other thing that the early synthesizer? I can't remember what it was called now. Mark Doty had one. No. It was Omnichord.
Oh.
This just sounds more interesting to me.
Oh, what, the Novacord?
Novacord.
Yeah. No, I love the
that's
Novacord.
But this is Novacord's much later, though, isn't it?
30s.
Yeah. Oh, was it? Oh, okay. I do stand corrected. I only get so much stick for saying that.
Hey, I'm going to do a Warren. Shall I do a Warren then?
Are you going to show us your new instrument?
Yeah.
So this is something you've been working on, right?
Hey, man, look at this. Oh, turn the amp on.
That's great. So this is an old G4 case, right?
It is. I'll hold it up so you get a...
Wow. That's so fantastically impractical.
It is.
What?
Yes.
What?
That's why I had to put the amp inside it
Yeah.
to make it heavier.
To make it almost as heavy as the original computer.
Yeah, I think that it's got a fabulous sound. It's great for punk.
Yeah.
I should play this though.
It's got that kind of battery dying brown death. It's like Zvex pedal. Is this the first of a series? Are you going to go into mass
I've
production?
never
on these?
shown anybody this before.
Wow.
I'll show you inside.
Oh, hold on a sec. Oh. Oh, that's awesome.
There's the amplifier in there, the little flashing red lights.
That's what we call an airbox in the trade.
It's big, isn't it?
Yeah. So you could put some resonant tubes in there or something that would actually kind of that would be interesting. You could put a spring in there quite easily. That's awesome, isn't that brilliant? Is this something that we can purchase? Can be purchased at Sonus Magus?
No, I'm giving them away free. I mean, come in. I'm giving 100 of these away free. No, I'm not. It's a lie.
What the hell? Hold on. A
Yeah,
second.
you can purchase it. I've based the price based on the CPU speed.
Based on the original computer. So when it's
I
fully
think-
loaded, it'll be about 35 grand
So
by today's money.
when people ask how much it is, I say, well, it's a G4, and it's a 450. I can't see it written on there anywhere. Where does it say that? Or does it say it there? Oh, my
What
glasses.
records did you make on it?
So it's 450 quid because it's got 450
Megahertz.
hertz of some. Yeah, those hertz things. So I should have rainbow unicorn. I mean, and if you look, you probably can't see it. And
Yeah, I can confirm it has rainbow unicorn
have,
strings on it.
Yeah, rainbow strings, made from unicorn hair, pulled from the top of the melodica on the shop. You know, the smoking melodica. So I should sell the 450 version of the rainbow. So can you imagine how loud an orchestra would be tuned up to 450 hertz? And there'd be men sawing bits off flutes to try and get the pitch up because flutes won't go up that high, will they?
I don't know if they will. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Bela Lugosi's dead. No, that was the wrong chords, wasn't it? What could
That's
do?
awesome.
I know you'll probably get you into trouble for copyright if I.
Yeah,
start playing.
you have to be very careful with that these days. That's
All right.
brilliant. So yeah, is that the only? That's the only one in existence, right?
It is the only one in existence unless somebody's copied it.
Well, Mini Mac Mini make ukuleles.
Yeah, that's
That's a good idea.
Do they? Who's done that? Send me a picture, Red Waltz.
Mac Mini make you. All right, let's have a look. So let's see. Can we find a Mac Mini ukulele? I want to see that. I'm searching for Mac Mini.
I'll keep playing really badly
Yeah,
while you
okay.
do that.
Mac Mini.
Roadrunner, going 1,000 miles an hour with my G4 on.
I don't think there's. I think you could have the market cornered there if you did some Mac Mini ukuleles, Mark.
Okay, I'm going to do that as well then.
Yeah.
What did Dave find earlier on though? You found something, didn't you, Dave?
Oh, that was that. Somebody did an Apple IIe advert, didn't they, with a neck on it?
Apple
II,
II.
yeah.
Apple
Just
II.
put in Apple IIe guitar.
IIe guitar. Okay, I'm looking for that. This is it's all of us basically searching on our personal search devices live on the internet, folks. You can watch us do it. So, guitar here.
Even looks like Mark.
Does he?
Oh yeah, here we go. There we go.
Ooh.
That's it. Yeah. Wow, that looks like an accordion though. I don't
that's
think
got-
that has.
that's remarkably close.
Mark, I think your G4 looks.
Mine
way
has
better.
got the same pickup configuration though, because I've got the bridge is in the same kind of thing. I've got like one of those that
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
what's it tailpiece on it as well,
Yeah.
the ornate tailpiece.
So
And
you
I've got
have.
a single mini. I don't have a scratch plate though. That looks
Put
pretty
a
cool.
tremolo on it and then use it, and the whole thing just caves in.
What would be really cool is if each one of the QWERTY keys was assigned to some different sound, so you could play like a bit like Kraftwerk's Pocket Calculator.
What
So
you
go,
mean, like an auto harp?
Oh yeah.
That could,
wow.
it could work like an auto harp, couldn't it? So it damp the strings and you could. end up
Oh,
with,
oh right, okay, yeah.
see what I mean?
I
See
thought
what I mean?
I thought there was an electronic kind of device
There
that
was a
somebody had.
Suzuki Omnichord. It's like an auto harp, isn't it?
Oh,
Yeah.
I bought a Tronichord recently, which is the predecessor to the Omnichord, a Suzuki Tronichord.
I've never heard of that.
I wish I'd brought that actually. I could have shown you. It's smaller. They're really cool actually.
Hold on, I'm going to have to search for that. Here we go, folks. There's some more live searching on the internet while we broadcast. Tronichord. Okay.
I think that was just a sound card, by the way. Wasn't
This
really.
is
There
a
you go.
Tronichord. Here's a Tronichord. Here it comes. That's it there.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to want to borrow that now, aren't you, Dave?
Oh, are you going to circuit bend it?
No. No, it's too valuable.
I was going
Well,
to
the
say.
thing that was interesting about these is that actually the strum pad, because I know that Goldfrapp used to use the Omnichord. Alison used to use it because you could play some really beautiful, very high, tinkly kind of arpeggio stuff.
Yeah.
and it was all the
Yeah,
rage for
really
a while,
cool.
wasn't it? They did
I
so-
had a call from Brian Eno, weirdly enough, asking me to find him an Omnichord Mark 1. Because that was the,
I thought
that was
he
the
had
best
one
one or
already.
something. Well, I think he
But, I mean, the
lost it
reason-
or couldn't find it or something.
The reason why Nick Rhodes has an Omnichord is because we had this conversation years ago where he said, I was on a plane with Brian Eno and he had this thing in a suitcase. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's that. And he went, no, it wasn't one of those. And it took me ages to work out what it was and eventually figured out it was an Omnichord. And then we bought one.
I just like the idea of the Mark 1 being the one. I don't want the Mark 2. It hasn't got the same sound as the Mark 1.
Do you? I mean, can you
But it
okay,
doesn't.
right. So here's
It doesn't.
Really?
No, it doesn't. The earlier ones, completely different sound. I think they're still digital, the first one. But it's-
yeah, I'm not sure.
But
Wow.
the later ones don't sound the same. And I had one recently, and I sold it in the shop and thought I can emulate this on like the iPad or something. And you can't. The actual physical experience of playing that thing is different to any of the emulations of it.
I'm
And
looking
it does
for which
do
one's a
something
Mark II
really
and a Mark
cool
I.
and quite beautiful as well.
So okay, there's an article here somewhere about manufacturers of electronic music instruments who are also well known for making motorbikes. So we've got Suzuki and Yamaha.
Yeah.
Any other takers?
Ooh.
The Bultaco synthesizer was quite good. That was
Actually,
a complete
Enfield.
lie.
Actually, Ural, the motorcycle manufacturer, make guitars.
Okay,
So there is a Ural guitar.
That'll work. That'll work for me.
Well, I can tell you that I had a Yamaha CP60 upright electric Grand with MIDI, and the handles on it were the motorcycle footrests turned upside down. Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me.
They're heavy as hell.
Fantastic.
Okay, and now here's a question. So you did mention, Mark, just now about being on a plane with Brian Eno. So
No, I wasn't.
no, but I mean,
Yeah.
so who had an Omnichord in the case. So you're on a plane, right?
Yeah.
A long haul flight.
Yeah.
Somebody has a portable electronic musical instrument, either with the speaker on or the headphones turned up really loud, and you're next to them.
I've been there.
Who would they have to be for you not to complain?
Ooh.
Imogen Heap, probably.
Okay. That's cool. Actually, we're trying to get an interview with Imogen, to get Imogen on the podcast at some point. It'd be good to have her on. And I'm talking to her people at the moment, so it might be on.
Might be able to play out this.
So does
scenario.
that mean so if it was Brian Eno, would you complain then? Would you go, "Oi, mate, turn that off"?
I'm talking.
You didn't hear what I said
We're
to him
talking.
about the Omnichord 1
We're
or
talking
2.
Australia. We're talking maybe long haul flight from Australia. And like you've taken off. You've literally the seatbelt sights have gone off. Out comes the whatever it is, and it's kind of getting right on your nerves.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, there's no way I'm going to be able to survive 12 hours of this. Maybe you move. Maybe you can ask to move seats, or say, would you mind if I, or would you just sort of try and engage in conversation? It's an interesting. It's like what are those cards called? Cards Against Humanity.
Humanity, yeah,
It's a
yeah,
sort of
yeah.
palatable version of that, without being sort of war crimes or
It's
anything.
funny you say that. On the train down here, I was in a quiet carriage, and the woman next to me started using the phone.
Yeah.
Was there a bloke a few seats down typing really loudly?
No. Well, but no,
Was she
people
doing it
weren't being
quietly?
very quiet in general.
Ah, okay.
Was the train full?
No.
No.
Okay. I can't keep up with all the
As
switching.
it,
I'm
as it
nearly there.
relates to if I were stuck on a plane with Brian Eno and he were playing the headphones really loud, I would tap him on the shoulder and say, "Aren't you the guy who made music for airports?"
Oh,
Very good.
Very good. Yeah.
Very good. You sound like you're going deaf now, Brian.
Why
Maybe
don't
you should
Why don't you just play that?
instead. Anyway,
I think
just,
I'll just open a bag of snakes.
that's just the scenario I had
Then
working
we could,
through
then
in
we
my
could
mind.
talk about the Middle East for a while. How
can't-
many hours do we have?
Okay, so I think I've got another video. Have I got another video? That was that one. That one is that one. What's this? No, that's them.
That
Oh yeah, here we
Omnichord.
go. How about this? 1010 Music Box is out. Black box, music black box. 1010 Music. This is a kind of. This was actually a Eurorack module. 1010 Music did a whole bunch of them, and now they've created like a little standalone thing that looks like it's USB powered, and you can do sampling, and the whole thing is portable to a degree. So this is all about the making music on your way home on the bus, you know, wherever, in the park.
Narayan's shop. I could go in Narayan's shop.
Record, edit, and sequence. So it's quite similar in many ways to, you know, like OP1 World or that kind of thing, where we've got an interface that is, you know, not our computer, so therefore more fiddly to use, but somehow we still gravitate towards these things. And this, by all accounts, this thing works very well. It can record quite long samples, you can do stems, do all sorts of cool stuff with it. Oh, Dave's eyebrows are going up. I'm guessing he's playing these, right?
So it seems.
Maybe.
I know this is an audio recording by the looks of it. It's quite a compelling musical demo. I mean, the black box and the black box thing. From what, by all accounts, I've seen. I think a couple of people have done little pieces on them, and it looks like a kind of fun thing. I mean, do these sort of do it all boxes appeal, or do you just think, hey, I've got an iPhone or an iPad, maybe I should just use that? I mean, what's the sort of...
That thing does appeal, and I think it is cool to have a freestanding device that does all of these things. I don't know the extent to which this thing is actually making the noises or just capturing them, but it reminds me a little bit conceptually of Isotope's Spire product.
Right, yeah.
Which is basically a bring it with you recorder with a really nice microphone and some nice mic pre's, and you can edit it on your...
Yeah, you do need an iOS device to do that part of it, I think. But yeah.
But you can use the iOS device as a recorder too.
Yeah.
I mean, so
true.
When I was sitting in Westminster Abbey, because I went there and I wanted to hear the organ, I whipped out Spire and recorded a little bit while I was sitting there because it was cool and it sounded good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dave, I saw your eyebrows go up. Is that just because there were some drums, or you think it's cool? Because 1010 Music have done a few of these things. They've done. We reviewed something. I think that they did a sampler, and they've done a kind of a utility module which does kind of LFOs and envelopes and all kinds of things. And I guess it's like a platform that they've built, and then they've put it in its own box, and it does all of these other things as well.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe it's time to update my QY10.
I'll say, I've still got one here somewhere.
Because the QY10 had a better sound than the QY20. No, I'm just lying.
It did. I'll tell you what, the sound on the QY10, you go up 5 or 6 octaves and you start playing up there, and the aliasing is just brilliant.
Wow.
And I've just I've revealed something. I should probably... That was one of my secrets.
They're going up in price now.
Yeah, they ought to.
That was
They're
the thing I
brilliant.
took on tour forever. So yeah, this is very much more high tech, and I like the idea of being able to go. I like the concept of being able to take something and go out and do some work elsewhere without being shackled to a computer and stuff. But I think in reality, for me, that just never happens, because I then start hanging things off of it. Oh, I need a hard drive, or I need more of this, or I need more of that. Oh,
Yeah,
I
well,
need one of those. And before
then you
I know
got
it,
your
I'm-
computer anyway.
Yeah,
so.
and then I'm
that's
outside.
that's the thing. I think actually I'm just looking at the spec on this. I thought, but it's got micro SD. I had a feeling. I thought it had a USB host mode, so you could
It does.
plug. It does.
Yeah, it did say, I watched the video. It said
Okay,
that in
so
the
it
video.
does. So that's kind of cool. So you could plug something into it and
Yeah.
kind of use that.
I think isn't it $600?
Yeah, $600, which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
affordable.
It's fairly affordable, but Spire is half that. But this thing makes noises. I get it. This thing is a sound generating
What
device.
is Spire's on your phone, though, isn't it?
No,
It's an audio interface.
It's a hardware. It's a
Oh,
hard-
okay.
piece of
I don't know
hardware.
what that is then.
It's a recorder, but it's not making the noises like this thing.
I think I'm a bit worried that they say it's got a nearly indestructible design,
Nearly.
and I challenged them to lend it to me because
I
I once threw an S1000 out of a 4th floor window, and that was nearly indestructible, but not quite.
I'd like
until
to
it
have
hit the
seen
ground.
This was in like 1990. I had an argument with a girl, and it was right. That's it. I'm
Oh
leaving.
God, that reminds me. We had a
That was
report
in New Jersey, actually.
Wow, no, that's 1,000 out of a window.
The
And
famous S1000 New Jersey incident.
Yeah.
we had a similar incident where one of the guys who used to do some work for us, he had one of our M audio recorders, or a recorder. I forget. It might have been a Zoom H. I forget what it was. And him and his girlfriend had a massive argument, and she just picked up something and threw it at him, and he ducked, and it hit the wall and smashed, and it was our recorder.
Oh no.
And and it was like, oh, that's really awkward, you know. And so it was kind of like, oh, what do we do now? Because it's like, well, that's not wear and tear really. That's sort of willful damage, and I know, but it was a very awkward situation for a while. But so there we go. There's something for the chat room. Any other kind of
girls.
The first,
We've got to
the
be
first
careful
thing,
about girls.
well, it was his partner. I don't know if it was a girl or not.
Well, she was my partner. Was.
What? Wait a minute.
No, not that one.
Yeah.
Not his girlfriend.
I was gonna
Throws.
say,
No, the
that's
one I
really
fell
weird.
out.
That would be
The one
really
I fell
weird.
out with.
Oh, okay, all right. I was just looking. So 1010, yeah, they've got Toolbox, Bitbox. I think, but Bitbox was the sampler. So now they're Black Box. So they're all the same price actually. The Black Box is the compact sampling studio, and it's standalone and it's $599, whereas the Eurorack modules are $599 as well. So interesting.
Is it the same thing then, but just in a?
No, well, I think it's a similar platform. I think it's got a kind of computing platform with, because if you look at the hardware here, and certainly the Eurorack modules, they've got the sort of same number of I/O and the knob. So it's just they changed the functionality. So I guess one could be the other. It just depends on what software you might load on it. Whereas the Black Box is obviously different because it's self-contained. It's got buttons and it doesn't have the 1/8" jacks. But it looks like an interesting thing. I guess something we should probably look at. But I don't know how much appetite there is for these things because, I mean, people get very uptight about what they consider to be hipster devices these days, don't they? And I don't really know why that would be the case. It's just, what does that actually mean? Does it mean something that you think you need, that you don't really need, but somehow the marketing has led you to believe that you do? It's like buying clothes for fashion. You're buying equipment for fashion. But I mean, it's always been the same, hasn't it? I mean, I don't think there's been any much different. You're after the latest sound, and if that's what it does, you're going to buy yourself a TS-81Z for the lately bass, right?
Yeah.
I've got one for sale in my shop if anyone wants one. Sorry, I had to plug it.
Nicely done, then, Mark. Nicely done. That was awesome. I'd just like to say, round of applause there for the sleuth marketing there.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely excellent.
That right in there.
Yeah, that was brilliant. I think we might be. Gosh, we've reached 5 o'clock miraculously. I'm just beginning to get my muscle memory is starting to work. I know which button to press, and we have to stop the show.
Right, let's do a show.
Yeah, let's do a show. Yeah, that was the rehearsal. Now let's try again, and only this time I'll do better. So yeah, that was great fun. Mark, thank you so much for showing us your guitar. Can you hold it up for us once again?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, you've got something else there on the top. Did you?
I was just going to. Well, we almost got to a link where this would have been an appropriate moment to show this.
You got the Craft Synth too.
Yeah, so I never buy things because I expect people to give them to me for free. But I saw this on Kickstarter, and I thought, God, that looks really cool. So I just clicked the button and went for it, and it is really, really awesome.
They do sound good. Have you got the case? Because that's the thing that excites me.
case.
I've seen the synth before. I've never seen the case.
The case is really cool as well.
The case. I'll hold the case up here.
Yeah,
Andy's swooning already.
but it's gnarly and harsh and digital and
but it also can sound quite
smacks
warm
you in
too.
the face. And then you turn the filter and it just goes all, like you say, warm. It sounds almost analog in a way, but
I know there is
like
absolutely nothing
the
analog about
harshest,
it.
nastiest FM that you can imagine. I had a customer come in on Saturday, and I was playing with it in the shop, and I'd got one of those little Stag Riot boxes, and I'd got it plugged in and turned up full, and I was going, gong, 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 and she said, "I say that's awfully loud." So it upsets the gentler persuasion of the hippies in Glastonbury.
Have you got any unicorns? I only came in for unicorn strings.
Yes, exactly. And I'm meant to be holding the guitar.
Oh yeah, we were going to have a look at the guitar.
Yeah, I got
Andy's in place
sidetracked.
and everything. So we're going to have another quick look at it. Actually, will you hold that up and we'll say goodbye to everybody, and then you can play us out. How does that sound? Okay. So there it is again. If you tilt it so the light's not catching it, so we can see. There we
like
go.
that.
That's it.
Oh, it looks
Beautiful.
good,
doesn't it look good?
Only £450 at
you-
Sonus Makers, Glastonbury.
Awesome.
Sorry, that was another plug, wasn't it?
Yeah. Okay. That's enough of that.
And
Dave.
it sounds awful.
Okay. You can shut up now. You've had enough.
Oh,
I'm gonna. You can
All right.
play us out.
I won't
That's
say
it for
anything
now.
else for the whole podcast. Okay.
That's fantastic.
Well, we nearly finished. So. Dave, thanks for coming in. And of
you.
course, we're going to go out and have a curry, I think, aren't we? And meet up with Gaz, I believe, as well. Because both yourself, your good self, and Rich are staying in town. So we'll be able to enjoy each other's company for more than just the hour.
all night.
Oh, well, I'm going home. I'm going home.
Hey now.
I think you and Rich are sharing the same hotel, not necessarily the same room.
Hey now.
And of course, we've got Rich here as well. So you'll be joining us after. Thank you for coming down, Rich.
It's my pleasure. I'm so glad that we did this. It's so much fun.
It always is, isn't it? And well, we can do the. Well, actually, you can play. If actually you play, because the problem is I've got.
Don't ask me to play anything
I've got.
complicated.
The thing is, I've got the I've got the end that I press. It's like a whole automated process.
Okay.
That has a piece of music in it, which is the thing that we use to.
Have you
plug.
got the score?
I'm, yeah,
I wouldn't understand it.
It's just in the printer.
I'll be like, what?
It's just in the printer. Anyway, thank you very much, everybody, for watching. And thank
What
you.
key's it in?
I couldn't tell you. I can't remember. It's been ages.
figure it out.
But I
You'll
wanted to
figure it
say
out.
thank you to our friends over at Isotope for providing the prize. Remember, if you want to enter and win a copy of Neutron 3, which is the latest one, we're looking for the hashtag Mix Balance and the hashtag Neutron 3 to Sonic State and at Isotope Inc. And of course, do check out the Soft Tube Parallels synth as well, because it's jolly good. So we'll say goodbye, and Mark will play, and then I'll try and figure out maybe what I should do. Is,
No, I need
I
to
know
know
I need to play
what
the
key is
music.
it?
I need to play the music. I don't know. I'll just have to hit go, and then we'll see what happens. Okay, so
I could
here we
play
go.
all the wrong
Ready?
notes.
La 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 la. There it
Ah,
is.
there we go.
We're there.
Oh no.
That's awesome.
I've ended on the right note.
And so it
Action.
goes. Very nice.
Thanks everybody for watching. We're going to switch off now and probably curse enormously while we relieve our. Oh, actually, Andy, can you switch the stream off?